And we are back for round two of this ETS Open. I am Sir Rhino, and joining me in the booth is Mark, aka Chibi. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. Welcome back, everybody. Hopefully, everybody had a great time during our round one. We're back for our round two. Great things are going to happen. We've got Buckwheat versus iCole, and it's going to be good things. It's a Felon Control versus a Fire Justice Shadow deck of just goodness. Lots of singletons and lots of like two ofs. So if nothing else, there's never going to be a game that is the same coming out of iCole's deck, which is pretty fun.
Yeah, iCole is on, I guess, kind of what we saw last round, where it's like Fire Justice Shadow stuff.
Good stuff,
The Fire Justice Shadow deck we saw last round had, this Hero of the People package. This is trying to, I guess, just play more good stuff. The odd thing here, though, is that we see all these two ofs and one ofs, and there's no rise to the challenge. Find them. You're just kind of, iCole's just letting the cards fall as they may here.
Yeah, and I know we were talking about this a little bit off stream, but I'm guessing some of the choices at least were made partially on card availability. That being said, I mean, like, the deck has a lot of very powerful cards in it, right? So
Sure.
It's gonna be, I would like, obviously, right? It's are these players, are we in the winners bracket or are we in the losers bracket right now?
This is the 1-0 bracket.
Okay, that's what I thought. So
Not a winner here. I think iCole is taking the approach of, especially from Buckwheat's perspective here, of, your Felon Control, you're trying to play around what threats your opponent's going to play. It's a bit tough to do that when your opponent doesn't even know what threats are going to do.
Exactly. Yeah, and that was kind of my point, was he's got answers for pretty much about everything in the meta. It's just so basically, if iCole draws what they need to draw when they need it, which, so like most games and most matchups, I can easily see them pulling out some good stuff. And then, of course, Buckwheat on Felon Control. I don't think I've ever seen Buckwheat play Felon Control before. I wonder why this departure. That is incredibly thick sarcasm, in case anybody was wondering.
Yep, Felon Control is the best deck, as I've always said, with my unbiased and well-reasoned opinion.
I was just about to ask if that was if you had any skin of the game there, Rhino, with your evaluation of Felon Control.
I mean, this just looks like classic Felon Control. 3 Harbingers instead of 4. I can live with that. The full 4 Vera is a nice place to be, though, especially in a world of Praxis being everywhere. At least in my latter experience, whenever I've resolved a Vera against Praxis, they've immediately scooped up they just seed, and we go to the next game. So Vera is a nice place to be right now. A couple main deck Sabos will do some work in this matchup for sure.
Yeah.
And then just a pile of removal, card draw, and good bodies.
Tell me about feeding time. How do you feel?
I love it. With more Mactos around, sometimes you can't permafrost them all, and notably Buckwheat's only playing 2 permafrost main deck, and your Suit of the Past don't always survive. So, I've been playing feeding time over Death Strike in certain decks and playing alongside it, like in this deck that we see here. At least in this deck, you have Wisdom of the Elders, so it makes sense that you'll be holding up fast spells in certain spots, but largely Felon Control is a tap-out control deck. So the fast speed on Death Strike doesn't matter.
And it looks like the players have go ahead and started. Buckwheat just playing a couple power on his first 2 turns. iCole is just seek powering on his second, which means that he should be able to play a power. Okay. And now we're back over to Buckwheat. You're going to see that Felon Bloodcaster come down.
Oh,
which it looked like, maybe not. Maybe I'm going crazy. Ignore everything I've said ever in the past and will say in the future.
All right, so newly nerfed Inspired, confirmed, good enough to see play in the ETS. iCole uses it there, plays undepleted seat, and Buckwheat finds more power, and iCole's got a Torch in hand that will find no targets this game, but might combine with the unit.
Yeah, and then I'm looking. Let me take a quick little gander. So Right now, Buckwheat's got the ground pretty locked up based off of what I'm seeing from Eichel's deck list. In terms of ground units, I'm seeing Argent Instigator. I'm seeing Champion of Glory. I'm seeing Champion of Chaos. It's yeah.
A fully buffed Champion of Glory backed up by like Righteous Fury or Porch can handle this board. But
or some armor from Ilgen would be another way.
But yeah, Buckwheat's got the board is the key here. Eichel does play Harsh Rule, but only 2 copies. So can you play around that reasonably? Do you just Buckwheat just trots out the Steward here and a second Inspire premium. The other one was non-premium. So Eichel trying to really play as many singletons, even when not, as possible here. That's something you got to respect.
Yeah, I would definitely. I think I'd like to see a few more Inspires in Eichel's deck just to help them get through all of those the singletons and the 2-ofs. But what can you do?
Yeah. Notably, Eichel not playing a playset of Quarry, only playing 2 of those. I think that's one of the more surprising 2-ofs in the deck.
I would agree.
It's not a card you typically see as a 2-of, but again, just there might be a method to this madness, and we're just gonna have to see it as this game goes on.
Oh, I believe 100%. There is zero delusions there.
Well, in the meantime, Buckwheat has just been playing cards every turn. His Island's favor got Aegis got popped by a Vera's favor.
Wow.
Argent Instigator
but it's
stolen.
It's Eichel's 5/5 Argent Instigator, which actually would have been able to do something on this board. Granted,
and now what we'll do is kill Eichel.
And we know that Buckwheat also had the Vara in hand, so debatable whether like a swing from Instigator would actually be helping or hurting Buckwheat more. But yeah.
Oh, I think a double torch is coming out here. Yep.
Ooh. Okay. All right.
Stewart gets a 2-for-1, and now Instigator and Harbinger comes down. Buckwheat's going to force Eichel to have one of his 2 harsh rules here, or Eichel's going to be in a lot of trouble. And even if he does, Vera will reset them.
And so Eichel's got what? Either an Annihilate or a Torch in hand based on that pause? I'm trying to see.
I think Righteous Fury can target any unit. It might be only your units, though.
I believe it's anything. All right, so Eichel's gonna see the writing on the wall there. Literally on board lethal. And just gonna pack it up. So we're gonna be getting on to game 2. Let's see how Buckwheat does a little sideboarding here, little bit.
Yeah, this is generally the kind of matchup Felon wants, where you're just against mid-range stuff. This is what Felon Control loves to see. Eichel does have a few sort of Ikaris and Runehammers, which some people say Armory is a bad matchup for Felon, but it's really Armory once Armory plays or an artisan or buffs their weapons, that's when it gets tricky. A sort of Ikaria doesn't do anything against Steward of the Passive Felon Bloodcaster. It's Hammer of Might wants to slide to.
I'm seeing 2 Black Iron Manacles, though, in Eichel's board.
That's a fun card.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I don't think we have Eichel's actual sideboard up on stream. His deck had so many one-ofs and other things that we couldn't fit it all in the graphic. But yeah, Black Iron Manacles, the 2 extra harsh rules are there. Shadowlands Feaster is actually a really clean answer to Champion of Cunning, so that can be like a fun card to bring in. And we'll just have to see.
Yeah, and after looking at the board, I'm going to actually go back on what I was saying about a card availability. I think there's just some method to this madness that we're just not seeing yet. That being said, I think how do you feel about Black Iron Manacles here? I actually like them. And just in case, chat, if you guys do not know what that is, Black Iron Manacles is a 4 with influence of Fire and Shadow. And at the end of each turn, it deals 1 damage to the cursed player for each card that player drew or discarded that turn. So it can do some pretty big damage to Feln if they they draw a few cards. If not, it's still it's a 25 turn clock. And when I choose my clocks, that's what I'm going for.
Yeah, and That's okay, but it is still ultimately a 4-cost card that has no board impact. And Felm can just, as we saw last game, just curve out with units on the board and beat you down. But going into 2 Manacles, upping it to 4 Harsh Rule could be a strategy. You just, if you're not applying enough counter pressure, you might just get overwhelmed by these 4 Veras.
Yeah, which I think is completely reasonable. And
plus,
you actually bring a very good.
Yeah, and also Felm can just cast Island's Favor and have an Aegis on their face, and then you have to deal with the Aegis on their face before you can Manacles them. So it's not even like a guarantee to stick.
Quit bringing in this logic. All right, we like to live in magical Christmas land here, and that's where I choose to build my house.
Yeah, I've had Manacles cast against me, and then I proceed to hit the Ace Face button a few more times. The game is over before it does anything. But
I actually think I'm one of the people that have casted Black Iron Manacles against you. It worked out in my memory. So that's what we're gonna do. That's how we're going.
Looks like this game is getting ready. So there it is. Eichel draws the first card, or plays the first card, doesn't draw the first card, and gets some influence on the board. And meanwhile, Buckwheat showing off his premium Ikaria portrait here, flashing that cash.
Yeah, like I wasn't necessarily a fan until I saw the wings on the board. I know you don't like the wings on the board, but I can get behind it. Is all.
Yeah, I'm a Molat and Nakova avatar user. Like having a 2-headed dragon as a face as my representation. So been enjoying that. I'll probably end up going back to Steward of the Passes.
Oh,
there it is. On curve, Black Iron Manacles into Wisdom of the Elders. So Buckwheat's on a clock.
Wow.
On a clock here. Notably, this Island's Favor will block a trigger for a turn. But yeah, Buckwheat's on the clock, had a really beautiful curve out hand, and instead gets stuck on power here.
I'm so excited.
Now Eichel just has to not die, and Buckwheat will eventually die.
That is 100% true. Maybe this is the secret to the deck. Is just kill everything your opponent's doing, and it's just Black Iron Manacles every turn.
All right, looks like Eichel kept in the torches because there's a pause here. I don't believe Eichel has access to protect, so Buckwheat can figure out that there's a torch in his opponent's hand, and he'll be able to play a Champion of Cunning with Aegis.
Yeah, and it's worth noting. Buckwheat could have saved that Island's Favor in order to put the Aegis on himself on a turn where he would be doing a lot of drawing or discarding of cards in order to save a few points of damage potentially. Will that matter in the long run? Zero clue.
Yeah, I mean, he opted to do it there just to hit the power and guarantee could start curving out, and also guarantee this Champion of Cunning comes down this turn. And Eichel knows, I mean, both players know we're in a racing situation right now. Just start swinging and hoping the Manacles does what it needs to do. Here comes the torch to pop the Aegis. And Harsh Rule.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Eichel's like, I don't want you to hit me with cards because I have Black Iron Manacles. Stone. So gets a couple Stone Cudgels out of the deal as well.
Yeah, those Cudgels could be pretty big, but we do see Buckwheat sitting on a handful of removal.
Handful of removal and also a handful of card draw. So this Manacle does 2 damage that turn because of the Seek power. And it's ticking. Buckwheat needs to find, I think he's got 3 Black Sky Harbingers total. Oh, no, there's one in the sideboard, so that maybe might have brought that in too.
Yeah, and again, I would just like to say, naysayers be damned right now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my goodness. All right, so I'm still pretty sure Buckwheat wins the race if Eichel does nothing, though, right? Like,
if Eichel does nothing, correct. And it is notable that Manacles is at the end of each turn, not just Buckwheat's turn, so he can't do something fancy there like Wisdom of the Elders on his opponent's turn to avoid this. All right, there's another Harsh Rule. So yeah, this is kind of what we talked about. The Manacles could come in, all 4 Harsh Rules could come in, and Eichel just tries to kill you with Manacles. That's what's happening this game as Buckwheat just draws all the removal.
Just
9-turn
so
clock.
pleased.
9-turn.
Pleased.
Notably here, Buckwheat has all this removal. None of it answers Ikaria, which Eichel has as a one of in the deck.
Ooh, all right. Vera's big game. Mm-hmm. He's going to get back Bloodcaster. Bloodcaster is going to allow Buckwheat to draw. Well, you're drawing two more. Yeah. All right.
But he still opts to go with the Bloodcaster. Takes 1 damage there on an 8-turn clock at the moment.
Yeah.
Could speed or slow that down. It's up to him. Stewart can get back Stewart here, and I think you just do that and hope they don't have another harsh rule.
What do we think is in Eichel's hand? All right, well, that answers that.
If I was Buckwheat, I would have played that Steward pre-combat to make sure you get the Vera trigger.
That's That's a very, very good point. It doesn't matter when you get a second Vara.
Sure, but you go down to 5
them out of the yard in a second Black Iron Manacles.
Oh my god!
Wowie! Wow!
There's only 2 in the sideboard, right?
Yeah, there's only 2. Only 2.
Oh my god! Oh man, this is going to be down to the wire.
Is Vara okay? So Vara is not draw and play. It is just play.
Yeah. So what does Eichel have here? Because Buckwheat has lethal on board, has a bunch of removal in hand.
Yes,
Commander.
Oh wait, nope, doesn't do it. Does not do it because of Annihilate. Oh my goodness. No, Black Iron Manacles. Why Black Iron Manacles?
So who said what was going to happen this game? I'm sorry.
I'm pretty sure we both agreed that Buckwheat was pulling this out. I don't know. I don't remember. Memory's a fickle thing. All right. Who can say? It's not like there's some sort of recorded evidence that would,
lost to the eternities.
Yeah. Who knows? Congratulations to Buckwheat, though. Fantastic game. Got down to the wire. Buckwheat won on the turn that they had to win on. So and they did, and that's the name of the game.
Yeah, crucially, that torch had to pop an Aegis instead of hit his face. Lived to tell the tale with 3 health remaining.
Absolutely beautiful. So I think we're going to be looking for a backup match.
Yeah, looks like we'll be looking into that. But in the meantime, Eichel, hats off to you for that. That's spicy number, man. I can't believe we saw double Manacles that game. Maybe the key here is Eichel will have to get 2 more Manacles in the sideboard and then actually put all 4 in them. Yeah,
like on a more serious note, I actually am a big fan of Black Iron Manacles, and I think it's some interesting deck building space. However, when I was testing it, if you did not you either needed to have sweepers nonstop, you could just never not have a sweeper in your hand, and you also always had to have Manacles on turn 4. And if you didn't,
what I'm hearing is Manacles is a strictly worse Khaldra Cradle.
Yes.
Or we need to put them in the same deck. Now we figured it out. How many 4-drop do nothing relics can we shove in a deck? It's the real question.
Yeah, I mean, I would. It could go in a deck with Flamestoker.
Could you put it in a deck with Fallen Oni? Is that the new sick tech?
All right, so Fallen Oni, Flamestoker, it's Black Iron, Manacles. What else were we saying? I'm gonna build this.
I think you would need 20 Stray into Shadows.
Ooh.
Roughly 20 of them.
Okay. That would also mean that Stray into Shadow would have to be good.
That card's good. I've been jamming it in Xenon. Reckon for
How many copies?
3. I would play 4, but I have a premium Slime Spitter Slug, and it's too awesome to me. So, yeah. It's all about making the correct play.
Yeah. Maybe I'm just too out of it. But I'm never been a fan of Stray into Shadow.
I can assure you I'm way out of it, but that doesn't hurt.
Fair enough.
Yeah. All right. So we're not getting any word about a backup match. So we're gonna take a real quick break. We'll see what pops up, and we'll be back as soon as possible with more. Actually, you know what? We've got one thing to. Oh, we do have a backup coming.
Yes,
All
we
right,
do.
Shed versus
Yes, we
Khaldra
do.
is coming up here. So there we go. I believe Shed also on. Yeah, Shed's also on phone control. So we're gonna see some more phone control in just a moment.
Because you know, when I sat down, I was like, you know what I wish I could see? A lot of phone control.
Oh yeah.
How excited are you right now?
I'm smiling.
So pretty excited what I'm getting.
And we're back. All right. So we've got a backup match here. More phone controls. Shed throwing his take on it into the arena up against Khaldra, who is on Chalice, featuring some real spicy one-ofs in the main deck. We'll see how they show up post board here. I believe I have actually no idea who's currently up in this match, but we'll get that info shortly.
Yeah, I'm waiting for confirmation from Booth, so we should have who is ahead right now. How do you normally think this matchup plays out right now?
All right, players are tied 1-1. How this normally plays out? Geez. This is, I think, traditionally Chalice is favored, but not always, because Chalice can struggle with Champion of Cunning and like other flyers. So a lot of games can come down to like, especially with this many Veras and stuff, like if Champion of Cunnings just keep coming down, it can get really tricky for Chalice. And also the last word post board can be powerful. Rain of Frogs is good. Like there's some powerful things going on that Feln can do. So I don't know if I can call either side favored.
That's fair. I mean, this Zendel's gift though, if it sticks, that's pretty big.
Mm-hmm. Notably, Khaldra has decays in the side. Whether or not he will opt to, or they will opt to bring it in, remains to be seen. Khaldra's got a really interesting take on Chalice here, though. If I ever get a chance to break this down, but we'll stick to the action for now.
Oh wow, he really does. They definitely. I can get behind this.
Yeah. So as we see Kothon come down here, Khaldra's taking a flying toolbox approach with Chalice. It's a seemingly traditional Chalice deck with your healers, acolytes, temple scribes, Kothons, desert marshals, yada yada yada. But it's got 2 copies of Skyward Seer main deck, and then it's got some one of flying target in Westwind Herald, Rhymescale, Draconis, Thunderstrike Dragon that it can dig up with the Skyward Seer, which is a Chalice. So pretty cool tech.
For sure, I'm excited about that Rhymescale Draconis. Yeah. I want to see it. Show it to me.
Island's Choice protects the Kothon from Death Strike. Shed doesn't want to play these Champions of Cunning ideally until he finds a 5th primal source anyway. So, there's a Desert Marshal down as Khaldra does not want Shed to draw cards off the. It's going to go the aggro route here.
Yeah, with this Great Parliament, Sabotage. I have to imagine the gift is coming down no matter what. But
gift comes down here, but Shed's going to be under pressure. This is going to be at least 10 attack in the air here. But if Khaldra opts to activate Kothon, that means all the cards in their hand are going to get carded. So still pretty good value
for sure. Still rough. I mean, Shed definitely has some time. Also, this makes his Sabotage that he just drew probably the best card in his deck. But,
yeah.
Again, little sarcasm.
So Shed takes out a lot of action from Khaldra, but still doesn't have a way to deal with these flyers, as Champion of Cunning does not have flying yet. It's just going to be buffing the board until Shed finds that 5th primal.
And also notable, he drew the Vara. However, Shed is unable to. Shed could play it, but it's not going to get any sort of value, right? Because there's absolutely nothing in the yard.
Yep.
And we're just going to see Khaldra just keep.
There it is. Primal Source gives 1 champion.
This is still not looking great. This is just lethal, right?
Not quite, because Shed swung with nothing. It was 1 short. Yeah, it'll be lethal next turn.
Unless so Shed needs to find a removal or a Black Sky Harbinger. Okay.
Yeah, needed to basically find black. So does not.
All right. So congratulations to Khaldra. I'm a little sad that we didn't get to see some of the spicier bits of Khaldra's deck. But I'm okay. I'm okay with the outcome. Not that I have any feels towards Felon Control at all.
Yeah, so Felon Control wins 1 this round and also loses 1 this round. So it goes, but still, hats off to both players. Shadows, is going into the 1-1 bracket now. There's still plenty of rounds to go. Lots of action still in store. But before we get to the next round, I just want to explain what's going on here. This is the ETS Open Series. This is the final week of Season 5. So players today are playing for their second to last chance to qualify for the Invitational next week, which has lots of awesome prizes, hundreds of dollars on the line, and also a chance. Well, if you do well in the Invitational, you get a chance to qualify for the World Championship, which has $3,000 prize pool at the moment. So let's explain how we get there. There's open tournaments every Saturday except the weeks at the Invitational. So this is
Rhino. How much are those tournaments? How much are those tournaments to enter?
They are free to play in. So it doesn't matter how many tournaments you've played in before. Ideally, you've played none before, and this will be your first tournament experience. It's a blast to play in. You just sign up. You can even sign up, I think, a few hours before it starts. But for our TO's sake, maybe you should do it the day before. But it's free to sign up. You can play every week, depending on how you perform in those tournaments. You qualify for the Invitational, as I said, and that's where the prizes really start kicking in. But either way, free tournaments, a fun way to spend your Saturday. So if you want more information, get all of that on aReNGeeternal.com. I also want to note that tomorrow is the last chance qualifier for the Invitational for Season 5. So even if you don't qualify by the end of today, you can play in tomorrow's tournament, and the top 4 players from that automatically get invited to the invitation. So the last chance qualifier tomorrow, also at noon. I have no idea if registration's still open. I think it still is. So yeah, I guess it has to be because this tournament's not over yet. Yeah, it is open until 10 a.m. tomorrow Eastern time. So still got plenty of time to sign up for that if you want to give this tournament thing a shot. And I recommend it. You don't really have anything to lose. It's free to come. It's a fun time. You're just playing Eternal at a competitive level with sideboarding and all that fun stuff. And you can get prizes for it. I don't know what else you'd really want to do except maybe cast it.
And you can play on your phone too. So you literally have no reason to not do it. Oil it doesn't matter. Passenger in a car doesn't matter. Driving a car, maybe we refrain. All right. No accidents. But seriously, guys, free, no reason not to jump in. Ton of fun. Great way to introduce yourself into the competitive scene. And especially like if you don't have the competitive experience from other games, excellent way to kind of wet your feet.
Oh yeah,
highly recommend.
And speaking of playing on mobile, the Invitational I won. I qualified by playing on not my phone. I was playing on my tablet at my family reunion. It was a good time.
Perfect. Sounds perfect.
So yeah, you can play it anywhere and have fun anytime. But with that, we're going to get ready for the next round of action. So stick around, stay tuned, enjoy the tunes. This is Sir Rhino and Mr. Mark Chibi, and we'll see you real soon.
See you guys.